Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jon Harvey, and this is the Modern Conservative Podcast, brought to you live from Salt Lake City. Let's get some things out of the way. You guys can look us up if you want to listen to me on Podbean. It's the Modern Conservative Podcast on Podbean. 45 platforms. You can't really miss me there. Also, the modernconservativepodcast.com. Now, that's our website where you can listen to current podcasts, you can listen to me live, and you can buy merchandise as well. Now, when you buy merchandise from us, we just want you to know, all the profit goes to American First candidates in the next coming years. One thing that we've been having a problem with is, good candidates raising money because the incumbents are the ones who have all the money. So I'm trying to help out these guys next year when they run. Hey, maybe I'll run one day. So, the funds will be there for us. Now, let's get on to the podcast. Yesterday, I was invited to the Utah State Capitol to participate in their little circus up there. And that is ethnic studies. CRT, SEL, those things that we parents don't care much for. But it was kind of interesting. No, it was stupid. Because these people are really, really, really nuts. When they think that we are people that are going to let you put things in our schools that tell me, my people were oppressed by a bunch of white privileged Caucasians. And most of you who know me know I don't believe in that crap. I don't believe in it at all. I'll fight it tooth and nail. But the thing is, you have people up there that are way, way, way liberal. I don't know if liberal is even a word. I would probably say stupid or no common sense. Because some of the things that they were saying up there would just doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand, why do we need an ethnic studies in the state of Utah or any other state, far as I'm concerned? Why don't you just teach regular history? That got me here and so many others. But I guess you need a way to make money off of it, so I guess you will just try to implement these programs that the Democrats want or the liberals want, and they get paid a lot of money for that. There's no reason why children should know what racism is. There really isn't. Because the minute you let them know what racism is, you create another trigger for them. And there's a difference between teaching people history and about culture and racism. Big difference in the two. Now, some people know that racism, like myself, it's never going to go away. Never going to go away. Will you close that door, Mike? Because you're going to have people that are flat out stupid. I hate to say it, but some people will never learn. And unfortunately, we will have to deal with them. But we don't create new school curriculum because we think that needs to be part of our history. Our history is what it is, just like the flag, Confederate flag, just like statues, just like names on buildings. Look, our country is not perfect. And no one ever said it was. Being a conservative doesn't mean we're trying to be perfect. That means we're trying to conserve what was given to us by God. And one of those rights were the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, all 27, and the 7 Articles. There's nothing at the Utah State Capitol should ever have to do with racism as far as teaching our children about one race was more oppressive than the other. That shouldn't be in our schools. Not at all. And I dare someone tell me a legitimate reason other than a social, emotional reasoning why it should be in our schools. My children know they're black. My children know their dad's black. My children know their grandmother's black, and one side is white. So I just get tired of hearing how we need to do things to protect our children or teach our children things that would just enhance our culture. Please let us save you from yourselves, you silly black folks and you oppressive white folks. You need us. No, we don't need you. No, we don't need you. And I hope you hear this. And then here's one for you. Angela Romero. Oh, my Lord. The woman has issues. But I will thank her for this. You know, for many, many months now, the Democrats have been saying that CRT does not exist. Miss Romero, I want to thank you on camera stating that you didn't know about CRT until you went to college. So it does exist. And that's from the mouth of a liberal Democrat. She's rather rude and disrespectful. She really is. Yes, and I'm saying it live and calling her out. She's disrespectful. She's not professional. She's a typical liberal who thinks she needs to dominate somebody else's voice when she hears something that she doesn't like. You know, I really wasn't going to get heavily into the ethnic studies thing today on the show because I want to talk about a few other things as well. But this has been bothering me all night because I didn't even go to bed till 3:30 this morning because it pisses me off. We are having to deal with something that, again, pushing back on our children. When is it going to stop? I'll tell you when it's going to stop. When parents speak up and stand out and stop staying in the dark because you're worried about being called a racist, a homophobe, a xenophobe, a transphobe, whatever phobia there is out there they try to bestow on us. You don't give a rat's ass about it. You just fight and to protect the children. My children, your children, because I'm not just fighting for my children. My children are black. I'm fighting for your children just as well. And a lot of you, they are Caucasian. And that's the mentality you have to have in this fight. If your children have no value to you and you'll let them implement things in the school that would taint your child's learning, you should question yourself as a parent. I shouldn't be the one fighting your battle for you. You should be fighting with me. I sat in a room with about 10 people. You know, if you can't get in the conference room, stand out in the foyer in numbers. In numbers. But we don't have that in Utah. It's as if we are the only ones that have children. If you don't know what ethnic studies is, pick up a book or newspaper, whatever you could find, and learn what ethnic studies is. Look in California. Look in other blue states that are pushing the same damn thing. It's all part of the book in library or in the schools issue. It's all about CRT. It's all about SEL. And for those of you who don't know what CRT stands for, the acronym is Critical Race Theory. And SEL, Social Emotional Learning. And you tell me where this has a place in school. I dare someone to tell me a real legitimate reason. Don't give me your freaking good heart, I love my heart type of answer. Give me a real scientific answer why we need it in the school. Tell me, why do we need it in our school more so now than we did 30 years ago, 40 years ago? Tell me, what's the advantage of it? Yeah, the schools get more money. Yeah. Organizations make more money because they create new organizations just to teach CRT, SEL programs around the state. And sure, there's money involved. Don't think there isn't. Even outside of the school boards, there's money involved. You start your own private little school teaching kids critical race theory and SEL. And there are those schools as well. I'm just going to say the shit needs to stop. It needs to stop. And those of you that listen to me and follow me, you know what I'm talking about. And those of you who are just listening to me for the first time, you think I'm sitting up here live telling you this just because I have nothing better to do? Hell, I'd rather be shooting guns. I'd rather be hanging out with my children and friends on a Friday night. But this is what we do. When things happen, it triggers me. And when it triggers me, I speak out on it. And when I speak out on it, I'm asking you to get involved. I know we got an election coming up and everybody's worrying about the election, but let me tell you this. Everybody in an election is an adult. We'll take care of them later. Right now, we take care of our children. Right now, we take care of our children. There is nothing more important than that. Nothing more important than taking care of our children. And if there is something more important, you need to check yourself. It's not money. It's not your house. Hey, it's not even your dog Spot. It's your children. You know, I hear a lot of people say, I live and die for my children. Well, I'm not seeing that right now. I'm not seeing that right now because you're not fighting. Usually before you die for your children, there's a fight. Well, I'm not seeing the fight. And I want to give shout out to Senator John Johnson, Ryan Wilcox. Thank you for having me there because, to be honest with you, I haven't gone to a lot of the ethnic studies committees because I automatically knew it was CRT when they asked me to endorse it. And I told them, it's CRT light, actually. That's actually what I told them. Because the players involved are indicative of CRT. They are been pushing CRT. As a matter of fact, Dr. Jackie Thompson has been teaching CRT for many years. So when the teacher of CRT is pushing an agenda, don't tell me it's not CRT. She didn't wake up 10 years later and say, you know what? I don't want CRT anymore. No, that didn't happen. So what they're doing is, for you people that don't know and you're not involved, what they're doing is they come out with multiple bills. I call them gateway bills for CRT. You know, you have this school safety amendment bill. That's another bill. You got 374 where they want to put books in school, pornography in school. Excuse me, I apologize. Pornography in school, not books. And they have so many bills and gateways that they use to try to get in. And we try to fight them all, or speak out on every single one that we can catch. You know, in the ethnic studies meeting yesterday, they brought up a frame. And maybe next time I'll set my system up so everybody can see it. But they brought up a frame, and it was saying that the studies is supposed to be about reviewing the standards. And the school board makes a recommendation to the committee, and the committee sends it to the subcommittee, and they debate it in the subcommittee, and either they throw it out, yay or nay, something long short of that. Well, come to find out, now, I started thinking to myself, why are they working on standards before they even get to the committee? See, the committee is supposed to review the standards or create the standards in the committee. But the school board was already working on standards outside of the committee. So they say, well, the standards that they were working on are just the normal ones. Well, it's the normal ones that are screwing us over right now. So I want to see what the normal standards are that they've already created that are going around the committee. Why can't they just wait? I guess it's supposed to be only those standards, new standards, that has something to do with ethnic studies. Well, shit, everything they're trying to do has something to do with ethnic studies in their mind. In their mind, they create the language, they hide the language, and they use it to their advantage when it gets out of session and gets voted and passed and signed by the governor. And he's another. Don't even get me on that, man. The biggest liberal in the state of Utah. The man is not one of us. He's not one of us. And there's a reason why he's not liked. It's not because he says and does the right things. It's quite the opposite. But like I said, I don't want to get on him because I can have a whole show just about Spencer Cox. You know, so all I ask people to do is, come on, people, get off your asses. It's not about your ATV. It's not about your side-by-side. And like I yielded before, it's not about your house. It's not about your pick-em-up truck. Hell, it's not even about your guns. And I love guns. It's about our children. If you can think of anything that's more important than your children, we need to have a talk. We really need to have a talk. I want to move on to another topic. As we know, in a week or so, 2 weeks or so, we've got the midterm elections coming up. A lot of people thinking it's going to be a big red wave. Well, I'm thinking it might be a puddle. And the reason why I think this is simply this. The Republican Party didn't do everything they've done in the last 2 years just to stay in power for just 2 years. They're doing things right now to cement themselves for the rest of their lives. People, don't get your hopes up. You got to get out there and vote. You got to get out there and participate. Assume absolutely nothing. Do not believe the polls. Because some of these polls are what they call suppression polls. Oh, yeah, my candidate is way ahead, so I don't need to go vote. That's a suppression poll. You've got to stay away from those polls. You have to get out there and vote. You have to volunteer as poll watchers. Whatever you can do to make sure the integrity of our elections are sound and competent, you've got to get out there and vote. Utah needs you more than ever, conservatives, more than ever. I don't care if you're teetering conservatives or teetering right wing or moderate. You need to vote. You really need to vote. Because it's going to get ugly in 2 years if you don't vote and we lose. And I can tell you this, if we do lose, some slick shit is happening. Because when you think about when the president's approval ratings is the high 30s, low 40s, and if he wins by a landslide, that better make you think. You can kiss your freedoms, or I should say a lot of your freedoms, bye-bye. Definitely a lot of your money is going to go bye-bye. They're not hiring 87,000 IRS agent just because they need paperweights at the desk. They're coming at the middle class. They're coming after the people that truly income is closer to zero. They're not coming after the billionaires because the billionaires are part of the problem. And if you're out there believing, oh yeah, Joe Biden's about getting billionaires, yeah. You think he's going to come after Zuckerberg after 2020? You think he's going to come after Bezos after 2020? You think he's going to come after Bill Gates after COVID? No, they're not coming after them. They're coming after those who they think who can't fight back. Why do you think January 6th is so popular right now with the Democrats? They're idiots. I hate to say it, but they're idiots. And if you're Democrats out there and you're pushing January 6th, you're an idiot too. You're an idiot. January 6th is nothing but a glorified trespassing charge. They lock these people up for one reason, and that reason is simply this. If you stand up against us, your ass will be in jail with them as well. You better sit your ass down and do what we tell you to do, boy. That's what they're telling you. Because some slick shit is going to happen in the next few weeks. I promise you that. The Democrats don't care about the Supreme Court. They've proven that. They don't care about science, although they say, read the science. Yet they're the same people are telling us, oh, there's more than two genders. Read the science. Idiots. Idiots. You know, so the red wave, don't put too much hope in it. Look, I want to win just like anybody else. Oh, yeah, I want to see Joe Biden go to jail, which probably won't happen because the Republicans won't do a damn thing. They never do when they have power. We saw that in 2012. They don't ever do anything that they need to do. They don't repeal or replace anything but the Constitution because they're weak and feckless. My next, and then here's something else I want to bring to your attention. Hunter Biden. Good old Hunter Biden. Oh, man, America's first son. Damn it. I wish we all could be like Hunter, right? Make millions of dollars. Not have to worry about going to prison. Though, the FBI has came out and said, we have enough evidence to send him in for an indictment. What are you waiting on then? Because had it been me or my producer, Mike, our asses would have been in jail a long time ago. Yeah, and they would have took my house, my cats, my dog, my guns. Well, no, they fell in the river, so I still haven't been able to find them. But if they do find them, let me know, because at least I know where they're at. But it's going to be crazy. It's going to be really, really crazy in the next few months. And I just think and I just hope, things go our way. We're going to see. We're going to see. I want to get back to something ethnic studies. Would somebody please tell me why in an email or comment on the website, themodernconservativepodcast.com. Why do you think we need ethnic studies? I forgot to ask that question. Why do we need to have ethnic studies, CRT, and SEL? I want somebody to give me a real good definition as to why we need either of those. Somebody please tell me why we need to tear down statues, because I was on a show a few days ago, and it was about getting rid of, tearing down statues and monuments and flags and so forth and so on. And, they spend $62 million to tear down these monuments and these statues, which I do agree the money could be used for something else. But tell me, why should we tear down our history? And that brings me to my next point, our history. I'm so sick and tired of people telling me as a black conservative that or calling me an Uncle Tom. Well, if you're calling me an Uncle Tom, I appreciate that, buddy, because you obviously didn't read the book. Because in the book, Uncle Tom was a hero. Now, I'm not trying to be a hero, but I'll take the compliment. I will take the compliment. Because if being a hero is knowing my history, and look, and I don't need to know my entire history. I just need to know enough why I'm not a Democrat. I need to know enough just to know why I believe what I believe in. And I do know that in 1854, the Republican Party was founded. And I do know in 1865, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. What's the correlation in 54 and 65? There were Republicans, conservatives. They freed the slave. And, many people said things to me like, well, you should be a Democrat because they've done so much for your race. It's not so much for my race I worry about. It's what they have done to my race that troubles me. If you call helping my race, if you call giving my race food stamp helping my race, you're an idiot. If you call my race being able to dominate the NBA, NFL, you're an idiot. I want people more like Dr. Ben Carson, who is in town this weekend at 7 o'clock at I think it's the D Center. They call it in Weber at 7 o'clock. So if you haven't got your tickets, by the way, go ahead and get your tickets because it's going to be a good time. And you're going to get an education from a black conservative who can tell you what it's like to be poor, who can tell you what it's like to be the first black man to split Siamese twins. See, this is the stuff that we want in our country. This is kind of what black conservatives want. We want people who can tell a story that is positive of the great things that we have done in this country. We don't want to hear about slavery all the damn time because none of us were a slave. Yes, it's part of my heritage. Yes, it's part of our history, but that's what it is. Because I need my history to tell us what our future is going to be in this country. And as a black man and as a black conservative, we're supposed to be out of bounds because, one, we know our history. Two, we say things that piss the other side off. Three, most of us are educated. And those conservatives that are not educated are educated enough to know why they are not Democrats any longer or if never a Democrat. Because history actually plays an effect on a lot of us. It really does. Me personally, I was a Democrat, didn't know it, but I was a Democrat in thinking when I was younger. 2008, I changed my mind. I actually didn't vote for Obama. He didn't have policy. Hope and change. And as a black man, I got tired of hearing how every 2 years, everybody in the election that was white, they were all called racist. I kept wondering why? And then one day I started thinking to myself, yeah, I do a lot of that. I think to myself, sometimes out loud. But I said to myself, why is it every time there's an election, the Republicans are always called racist? Why? And that started making me think. And I learned this is a race game. And I don't mean like zoom, zoom, zoom race. I mean racism. Racism triggers people to be mean, disrespectful, condescending, pure a-holes. So I said to myself, self, what are you going to do about it? So I started learning. Not, I don't mean learning where, you go to the library, you get 10 books and you just read. No, just educate me with life, history. So when I learned my history, I learned that about the Republican Party. I learned about Margaret Sanger. People talk about abortion. Here's a fact. The other day I was on a show. It's called Fox Soul. The youngster, he's a young professor. He says on this show, so I'm tired of my money going down to pay for statues and all this other BS. So I hit him with, yeah, you worry about them paying for your taxes going to statues. What about abortions? And this joker said to me, he literally said this, well, a woman has a choice and a right to do what she wants with her body, blah, 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 blah. Cry me a flipping river. And I said to myself, these people are crazy. They talk about the black race as if, we're getting shot and killed every single day by the thousands. And it's so concerning to them. But they don't talk about the fact that more babies are killed in New York than are born. They don't talk about the fact why our race staggers around 34 million people, 13% of the population. They don't talk about that because you know why? They've been trained it's okay to kill your own race. You know, in 1916, when Margaret Sanger founded Planned Parenthood, it wasn't about abortions. I don't care what the hell they say. It was about exterminating the black race. And for you people out there that are running around here, say, oh, no, she didn't, that she was. Look it up. Quit talking all the BS and look it up. Quit calling everything conspiracy theory, because that's what keeps you from being educated. Something as simple as get on your smartphone, look up Margaret Sanger, who she was, what she represents, and what she did to the black community. And they're still doing it today. Today. But now you're paying for it. You walk down to the abortion clinic freely to abort your baby. See, I get so tired of people talking about the black community as if we are a group of people who cannot fend for ourselves. Look, if we can't make it in basketball, we basically have no life. We have no future. It's always the doom and gloom. It's never the success unless it's LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, and other NBA representatives. And I commend them for their achievement. Absolutely. But not everybody's going to play NFL, MLB, or the NBA. Not everybody's going to make it. But they don't tell you about the people outside of those leagues who are successful. To us, our only leaders we have that I know of that are living today, so-called leaders, Jesse Jackson, Louis Farrakhan, and the ridiculous, lame-ass Al Sharpton. Oh, Barack Obama, he's another activist as well. Oh, Michelle Obama, she's an activist as well. All of these people are activists for the poor, not the educated per se. Now, there are some really stupid liberal black educators. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I don't use the word African American when I catch myself, because I personally, and like 90% of the blacks in this country, were not born in Africa. You were born here. Africa is your history. It's not who you are today. It is not who you are today. You are a black American. I know you hate to hear this, but you are a black American. I got a friend of mine, he's from Africa. He said there's so many people so many black people in this country who say, I'm an African American. But he says, nobody wants to go back there though. You talk about it as if you need to save Africa, but you don't want to go back there. And if you go there, it's just a visit. And he's 100% right. 100% right. But the black community, and I did want to get these 3 talking points out today. You know, ethnic studies, what's going on in the black community, and voting in Utah. I did want to speak on these issues today because they bothered me, especially after I was on the Fox Soul. And people are so damn stupid because of emotions. I need the black community to stand up and say, hey, look, we know what our heritage is. We just can't, we're not going to go back there. We're going to go forward. We're going to do the damn thing like we always do. We're going to be doctors and lawyers. We're not going to be food stamp recipients. We're not going to be a bunch of stereotypes, because the only picture they keep painting is the stereotype. When's the last time you heard a Democrat praise a successful black entrepreneur outside of the NBA? It wasn't Ben Carson because he's an Uncle Tom. It wasn't Jon Harvey because he's an Uncle Tom. Hell, to them, Charles Barkley is an Uncle Tom. Because we speak the truth as far as our history and the pathway that we need to take to be successful as a group. We're not afraid to say it. You know, if you really want the black community to grow, get rid of abortions. Though Roe v. Wade is gone, or aka Dobbs is gone, abortions never stopped. The federal government, or I should say the Supreme Court, didn't ban abortions in states. States now have their own autonomy when it comes to abortion. And yes, a lot of states don't want abortions in their states, or they want controlled abortions. And there's some states that believe the day of the pregnancy you can get aborted. Come on, people. Will you wake up? Black folks. Black folks. You talk about our numbers been down in our culture. What do you think it is? Do you think it's the killings in Chicago, Baltimore, New Orleans? It's not that. Though it does affect our killings, but there's more babies killed in New York than black men killed in Chicago. If that doesn't make your mind think, nothing will. You're so deep on the Democrat plantation, you believe everything they have told you. So if I were to say to you, for example, you hear not Donald Trump, but Joe Biden make reference to, Jim Crow laws, Jim Crow's law. They are the ones that wrote the Jim Crow laws. The Democrats did. You know, I hear people say, hey, you know what, there was a great switch. And I said, when was the switch? Because in the 50s and the 60s, it was the blue states that were putting the dogs on Martin Luther King and other boycotters and marchers. It was the blue states. And in the 64, it wasn't the Democrats that voted for civil rights. It was the Republicans. See, there was no big switch. The only thing switched was the story that the Democrats was telling, so you believe what they were saying. You know, when they implemented policies in the late 60s that says the mother could no longer have the birth father living in the home, who do you think that affected the most? Blacks. Because they put us in the ghetto in some of the most raggedy parts of towns, and you went on the welfare system. Hence the reason why we have ghettos, though ghettos did not originate in the black community, but that's what we used it because that was our culture. They put us in communities where there were shants or shanties. We need to get rid of things that make us weaker. Listen to the Democrat policy does not make us stronger. Does not. It has not done it so far. It didn't happen when Barack Obama was the first black president was in office. It didn't happen when the first black so-called vice president was in office. Guess when it happened? When a real white president took office, Donald J. Trump. This is when everybody had a great time. This is when everybody made money. And you damn well know it, but you won't say it publicly because you're a Democrat. And you're afraid of getting shamed by your own people. Hell, you can't even go to church and them not pick on you unless you were a Democrat. You're afraid to open your eyes and see what's going on in the real world that affects us the most. And it's not the Republican Party, people. And it's not conservatives. You know, you got white people talking about Ku Klux Klan and, you know, we need to save the puppy syndrome. That's what I call it. When's the last time you heard of the Ku Klux Klan doing anything? Really? When's the last time? You hear the narrative that police officers are killing black people day in and day out and by the dozens every single day. How often does that happen? More white men are killed by the police than blacks. You know why that is? Because there's more of them. I just simply say, we've got to do a better job as a culture believing what the truth really is, not listening to somebody else's BS and then retaining it as it is the truth. Like me, you can learn just as much as I have by reading and learning and researching. Conservatives are not your enemies. We're not your enemies. Black, white, yellow, or brown. Conservatives are not your enemies. Republicans are not your enemies. Look, there are some dumbass Republicans just as many dumbass Republicans as there are Democrats. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I know a few of them. But as a whole, conservatives believe in God, country, family, and protecting what's ours by one of our God-given rights, Second Amendment. See, the federal government fear us because we know what the Second Amendment is all about. We know what the Second Amendment stands for. And that is the one that protects us from the government. We shouldn't be fighting each other when the government telling us, one set of one culture is worse than the other. We should not be divided. It shouldn't be this way. We're only divided by color and agenda. Color and agenda is what separate us. As long as we stay divided, we won't win a damn thing. Because when one side's telling the other side the truth, either way, no one wants to believe it. Therefore, we will stay split in this country. And it's a sad thing. It's a really sad thing when we can't get along just because of color and politics. Yes, I am a conservative, die-hard conservative. I love the Constitution. And I love my country and my children. But at the end of the day, I still want us all to come together. Look, I can go back home, sit in my house, do absolutely nothing, and just wait for them to come knock on the door when crap hits the fan. Because one day it will hit the fan. Save this video. One day you will be in a position where you will have to work together to survive. If we keep going the path we're going now, it's going to happen. It's happened in every other country that's gone south. The latest is Venezuela. What makes you think it won't happen here? The Constitution tells us what our rights are, but it doesn't mean everybody has to adhere to our rights. Because those evil people who want to stomp on us, control us, hurt our children, use our children as pawns, they don't give a damn about the Constitution. It's about power and money. Power and money. If we, the people of this country, put our money together, we will be the most powerful country in the world. And that's without our military. We just got to figure out how to come together. We just got to figure out how to come together. I don't usually like preaching or talking at people or talking to people, however you want to take it, but I'm trying to get you to recognize one thing. We are United States citizens born under one flag. And if you don't like the flag, you can actually leave. That's one thing about this country. You can actually leave. But you know damn well this is the best country on the planet, and you're not going to go anywhere else. Because those people who said when Donald Trump became president of the United States, said, well, I'm going to give up my citizenship. Guess what? They're still here. They're still here. That's because they say that so you get triggered. They're not going any damn where. They're not going anywhere. It's the best country on the planet. And we can make it better. We can make it a hell of a lot better. All we got to do is stop the damn bickering. I have a saying, big things to a midget or small things to a giant. You need to figure out which one you want to be. And I say that with no disrespect to midgets. they are also part of the American culture. Stop letting people tell you what racism is and how to fix it. Because I can most likely can tell you they are racist. And it doesn't matter what color they are. So, once again, we close another episode of the Modern Conservative Podcast. It is Friday, thank God. I'm going to go home and drink me a tall drink of water. I want you guys to have a great weekend. Think about the conversation today. And think, how can we make things better? So you can look us up on the Modern Conservative Podcast.com, the Modern Conservative Podcast.com. You can buy merch. You can support us. The money that we make goes to having healthy campaigns in the next coming years. I don't need the money, but the state of Utah does. And I hope you realize that. And our kids need the money as well. So have a great weekend. My name is Jon Harvey, and I'm the host of the Modern Conservative Podcast. Love you all.